Good job, Beej.
I like that we had a through line all the way to the end.
Yeah.
It felt very good.
As somebody in chat pointed out, this is like the "We Were Right" edition of CheckPoint.
Yeah. No
That wasn't intentional, but
So, fun fact about that that synth story, because I was talking to, I already told Beej about this, but I'm proud of myself. I was talking to Paul this morning about the Playdate, and I was like, this doesn't strike me as a console. I hadn't read anything yet. I was like, this seems like more like one of them high-end modular synths that you can buy and play, and they're like discrete little like toys, and they're not supposed to be owned by everyone.
Yeah.
You know, they're just supposed to be elegant and do what they're supposed to do and look nice doing it and do it well.
Yeah.
And Paul was like, it is being made by Teenage Engineering, who makes very high-end, very popular synths. And I was like, oh, perceptive,
It all
go
comes
me.
together, yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely when you say that too, because when you said, oh, they make high-end synths, because I was like, oh, Teenage Engineering, I've heard of them, I don't know what they make. And it's like, well, they make synths, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this all tracks, it all makes sense.
Like it's cool, like it's not supposed to be for everybody. It doesn't have a video out,
Yeah.
which I think might be a very on-purpose design
Yeah.
choice, that it is a experience that you play yourself.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna stop looking.
sure, you betcha.
Oh yeah. Can we get chat up when you have a second too?
Yeah.
But I definitely love, like, because Panic is the company that's making this.
Yeah.
And Panic is the company that also funded Campo Santo's Firewatch.
And they're publishing Untitled Goose Game as well.
Yes,
So they only publish like games when they really want to.
exactly.
When they find the right one, essentially.
Yeah.
And they make a lot of money making like Transmission, right, Paul?
Transmit.
Transmit.
Transmit, Coda. They make some really nice high-end Macs. They're primarily a Mac developer.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was mostly based on like utility apps, like an FTP client or like
And
the
the
coding apps.
Unison, which is like a Usenet.
There's
browsing.
uses for them, right?
Yeah.
Have you stopped the local record?
Yeah.
So it's like they are very much a part of that whole thing, that whole environment. And so for them to say, hey, we wanted to make our own hardware, they even put up a thing where they were like, here's the Steve Jobs quote, which is anyone who's in the software business should be thinking about making their own hardware. And as a tease for this, for the Playdate.
Yeah.
So
like, I think it's cool. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that you should buy it. I think you should buy it because you want to experience a little tiny piece of art. I think that is the market. I think that they're not aiming to make a lot of money or possibly any money. But like there's a lot of companies that make these little modular synths that do make money.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of the same, like, you don't need it doesn't need to be a scale business
Yeah.
model.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same, it's the same thing as like the people who have made quite a reasonable business out of like making real world SNES carts
Yeah.
of like Street Fighter.
Yeah, doing their own repro thing.
Yeah.
Slide in your mug as well. That is for sale on store.loadingreadyrun.com.
Oh, it is it?
Yes, it is.
I put coffee in mine today, so it's an actual functional mug.
Mine is empty and fresh out of the dishwasher.
Mine is still functional, but not currently functioned. Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Yay!
So yeah, we were just talking about the Ouya and the Playdate.
Yeah, the Ouya is like dead, but like it's ghost.
It
It
was
still whispers into the void occasionally.
Yeah, so the Razer bought Ouya a while ago, but they only really bought the software part because
the hardware-
the hardware for the Ouya was just commodity stuff. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a thing.
No.
But they bought the software, and then they put out their own little set-top boxes that use the
right.
same store.
The Forge, I think, was one of them.
Yeah.
Yes, it was the
they've-
Razer Forge.
And they've now discontinued those because that whole concept just hasn't had any legs.
Yeah, it turns out at the time, and the reason this is the old story, but at the time I interviewed, I think her name was Julie Ehrman. She was the CEO of Razer, or CEO of Ouya, and she was like, we're gonna make these little set-top boxes. I'm like, so it's Android games that you're gonna play on your phone.
This is when you were still working for
Inside Mobile Apps. This is like 2011, possibly 20. Because
Yeah.
like right as I interviewed them, even maybe before, right as the Kickstarter came out, so it might have been 2012. But anyhow, I said, so these are like little set-top boxes that play Android games.
Yeah.
I can already play an Android game on my phone. Why do I want to buy something else to play a game that's already on my phone? And I said, well, you can put different games on here. It's like, but you have to make it for Android. Like you have to, it has to be compatible with Android. which means that you could also release it on a phone. And that's a stupid idea not to, right?
Because
look how big the install base for Android is.
Yeah.
Which means
So what's your business model here to get exclusives?
Yeah.
So it's gonna because you can't release it on Android unless it has like touchscreen functions, and it can't work on Ouya unless it's got controller stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
it
it seems like
quite hard to translate sometimes.
And so you had because Towerfall is kind of the big thing.
Is the only thing that started on Ouya.
And that is a game that definitely needs a controller in order to play properly. So it's like, okay, so there's your game. Are you going to make other games? Well, they couldn't. Like, where were they going to find the money to do that?
Yeah, pocket operators. I opted to exclude the phrase pocket operators from my description of teenage engineering because most people don't know what they are. But they're little modular synth
Reminds me a little
bits.
bit of what is that? Oh, what was that company that made that like super high end like keyboard where all the buttons were the like Optimus keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
Where all the
Yeah,
buttons
yeah.
were like LED.
Yeah, they said
displays.
they're all going to be LED displays, and you can change them to be whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I
like-
just want letters.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, it was clear at the time that Ouya had no actual monetization strategy other than, hey, people like, let's make a set-top box and get into the console business, but let's use like the worst possible like base
Yeah.
And like
to start it off with because we don't have to pay to license it.
Yeah.
and yeah.
Right.
Basically, all of the like excitement in sort of most of the excitement in consumer circles I saw around it was like, oh, this will be great. I'm going to grab it and install Linux on it and use it as a as like a movie viewer or
Yeah.
as a like emulation box. Or
It's
something.
Exactly.
like, well, but like, there's already a Roku box. Why? Like, there is no. They had not really thought their thing was, but we can make a lot of money on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And I think the goal of the company was to make a lot of money for the founders off Kickstarter, and then
Still like the 9th biggest Kickstarter. Like
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
9 million or something.
I think
like
it was-
it's a pretty hefty Kickstarter still.
It seems like the kind of thing where you would do this, and then you would be like, hey, we made this hardware, and then you immediately turn around and be like, let's sell this to an OEM.
which
and
is
then-
exactly what they were trying to do, and that's
Yeah.
why eventually Razer bought them for like nothing.
Yeah.
all right.
They
let's,
got like $25 million of venture
Jesus.
venture capital.
Yeah, and they had a big thing where they were like trying to sponsor exclusives, like they were putting money towards game development
Yeah.
stuff, which is not a terrible idea.
No, it's
except the company has to exist, has to both exist and have like a reasonable that it will continue existing for a developer to actually like, even if they're paying, giving you whatever $10,000, if you're going to develop a bunch of stuff for a console that nobody has, it's still not worth it as a game developer.
Yeah. If you get to take that game and then sell it on something else, then that's better. But anyway.
Yeah.
The Playdate, though.
The Playdate seems cool.
Yeah, so Playdate, it's sort of this just thing of like, hey, it's cool. Maybe if you don't like it, that's fine, but we're
Yeah.
gonna make it.
The fact that it's $150 for something that looks to me like a Game Boy Micro with a crank on the side of it is, and I mean, I know it's bigger than a Game Boy Micro, but really that's where I'm feeling this, and I'm like, so if they're charging that much money for it, they're feeling a level of quality in the build has to be what's in there. And knowing Panic, it's like Panic wouldn't stand for like plasticky whatever. This is going to be a very interesting device. It's going to feel good to hold, I'm sure, too. And whether or not the games will be good, I don't know. They got a lot of interesting people involved.
Yeah, the games are all secret
There
too.
will be 12 games that they're going to release that are free, like
Yeah.
or in the sense that they're included in the price of the system, basically. And there is also going to be like a developer SDK stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not one of these things where it's like, we're going to make it and people are hopefully going to make stuff to do with it.
Yeah.
Like they're billing it, they're selling it as the device plus the 12 games. That's it. Maybe other stuff will happen,
And
but this is what we're doing.
And it's interesting to think of a piece of hardware like that where it's like, there will be 12 games, they will be secret. So isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I
Isn't
think I think that's why there's no video out on it.
Yeah, doesn't that kind of feel like ooh? And because there's like on the website they have a bit of footage of one game that shows how the crank is used in the game, where you can kind of crank forward or crank backward to go forward or backwards in time. And I'm like, what a neat idea.
It is.
That is kind of a well, I'm kind of interested, but I don't think I'll buy one because I'm cheap.
It is absolutely a novelty.
Yeah.
If it did have
It's a toy.
Yeah.
some sort of video output on it or something. I would be very interested to do it for like some sort of thing for a stream or something.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to come out like every Monday, so we do like, hey, Monday we'll do like the next game that comes out. If there isn't a way to output the screen, that becomes less interesting. But anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
kind of
think,
a fun idea.
like I said, the games are secret. They're not being revealed. I think that the not having a video output is very. It is part of a design reflection that is included in the marketing.
Yeah.
The functionality they're intended, and is even reflected in the name, because they're calling it the Playdate, which implies that you need to make an appointment to spend time with this.
Yeah.
It is not meant to be something you watch somebody stream on Twitch. This is supposed to be you engaging personally.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be an experience that you buy for yourself, and to be consumed alone.
And to be clear, the crank on the side is nothing to do with charging. It is just an input mechanism.
Yeah.
The crank on the side charging thing doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a thing that the torque required to make it actually like provide a useful amount of energy makes it not that functional.
Yeah.
Anyway, other stuff. The Belgian banning loot boxes thing. That's mostly
Piece of old news brought new again.
yeah.
No
and
Pocket Camp.
Just in Belgium.
Did you get your 10 ocean sunfish?
I did.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can get your 1 loot box cookie.
I did. And I opened it up and I got like a poster.
chair?
I got the poster.
Oh,
Yeah,
that seems
film noir poster.
or it seems better than a chair.
Well, I already got a chair from a free version, a free one of
I
those.
never get any free loot boxes.
Yeah.
So it's mostly I find the whole thing mostly interesting because of course there's a bill that's being talked about in the U.S. right now about loot boxes as well.
Yeah.
It's different in the sense that it's like talk more about kids and trying to. It's both loot boxes and also like microtransactions in general and stuff. It's probably not going to actually be a thing because it's not well defined as a bill. But the principle, the idea is basically I find it incredibly hard to define come up with a definition of a loot box that is useful enough to broad enough to encompass the things you want, but doesn't include stuff like, say, a pack of Magic cards or a pack of baseball cards even.
Yeah. We had that conversation where it was like, what does this actually represent? And it's like, well, the closest we could get to it is that if it's a video game, a loot box, because it's a digital good, is only useful within the game itself and has no other sort of like a utility. Whereas Magic cards, you can make coasters or capes out of them. Like, they have utility beyond the level of the game. You're buying a physical object, and it's like, if that's literally what it's going to come down to, whether it's a physical object or
Physical
not,
object or digital, it's kind of weird. Yeah.
it is very weird. But it might just be, there have been weirder laws for weirder reasons.
But like if the physical object distinction works, but then you have the weird situation where like you can pack packs of Magic cards, but not Magic cards in the online Magic game.
Yeah, right.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a tricky thing. I'm obviously in favor of if microtransactions are something you want to do in your game, just sell the thing that you want people to buy.
Yeah.
Like
Have a marketplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's what they currently, if they've changed, but for the most of its existence, that's how League of Legends operated. Like it's entirely funded by microtransactions, but it's not loot boxes. It's buying these characters or these skins or
There's
whatever.
nothing in the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Reddit to talk about people from Belgium not being able to play anymore.
Just rebooted.
Okay.
So you probably have to go put it back on again.
Maybe.
I think it was a power thing.
When can you not play in Belgium anymore?
August 27th on Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem.
Okay, I'll watch the Reddit and we can report back if there's a lot of upset Belgian people.
Yeah. I mean, we'll know because they're yelling in Dutch, I guess.
They'll be yelling in French.
Yeah. Well, apparently
Or Dutch, you're right.
Yeah, the decision's written in Dutch, and I was like,
oh.
Really?
Belgium is one of those places that has like 5 official languages.
Yeah.
It's not going to bring up
One
the
of them
chat
is
moment.
not Belge, I think, though.
Yeah.
Belge being the language that they speak in Belgium.
I feel like the kind of people who are like still playing Pocket Camp at this point are just like hyper dedicated super completionists like Beige and I. Like, and it's like, well, unless I walk away completely, I can't put it down.
Yeah, I mean, I was still poking shit in Miitomo before just because I was like, well, I'm going to try to get this thing or that thing because it's available. And when they shut it down, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be sad to see this. No, I'm not.
No, this
I'm
is
not
just
going to be
gonna
sad
waste
to
my
see this
time.
go.
Do you ever feel like obligated to play that game?
Which?
Pocket Camp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
It's
the
not fun.
fucking time. Like, the thing
I'm
is...
so happy between events. I'm like, I don't have to look at Pocket Camp today. Oh.
Yeah, it comes as a relief when you feel like you don't have to play it, and that's the thing. Is it's like when I said, why am I still playing this game? Must be addicted. I have to think that I'm not lying. Like it's not one half of my brain realizing a thing that's not telling the other half of my brain. But I do like dopamine triggers.
It's like it is.
Oh, piss.
Uh-oh. Goodbye, chat.
All right.
No, Beige is gonna.
Put up our
Yeah.
phone for a moment.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right.
Our Raspberry Pi crashed, but it didn't crash during CheckPoint, so that's okay.
That's really good.
That's the best.
Yeah, that's what we needed to happen. I'm gonna have to get a proper power adapter for that.
All right. Let's.
No, stop playing.
The World of Warcraft. Or wait, is that the actual next story? What is the actual next story? The World of Warcraft classic thing is literally 3 words. We were right.
Yeah, I originally wrote that as a coming up, but then Beige fleshed out to a full story because it's got a lot of good full story stuff in it. But yeah, my original punchline was like, don't say we or Blizzard didn't warn you, right? Like without going into like their shit-eating grin. But yeah, they must be like, we fucking told you. We told you didn't want it, and you said you wanted it, so we're gonna give it to you. We're giving you exactly what you wanted.
We knew we could sell you this again. And even in beta, they're still taking this stance of it's like, it's in beta, and no, we're not fixing this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the idea of like, this is really weird and not good.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
What's more surprising? Here's what's more surprising to me. A product that has already been released and was on the market is being released again in beta. Right?
Good point. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
making
It's
the
like, isn't
beta's
the beta
free.
just wow?
Yeah.
But like eventually they're going to be able to sell it again, and their goal is to roll it back even more.
Yeah.
Right? They're on like version 8.51 or something, and they
No,
want to be like it.
the WoW Classic is 1.12.
Okay, and they're at 1.8 or something.
The current edition is 8.1.5, the newest edition of WoW.
Okay.
They were using that as a way of distinguishing how many version upgrades there's been since then.
Ah.
So when the thing in the and I couldn't find a way to explain this, WoW Classic is 1.12, and the part where they say in the not a bug list where they say this message launched at 1.12.1 and we're keeping it that way. That's literally 1.12 is classic. We're not releasing 1.12.1 for even the other things that we did. You guys want classic. This is classic.
All right, so stories we didn't talk about.
We really need that monkey's paw prop.
Yeah.
Stories we didn't talk about. The Division 2, like many of these these MMO type games, when they release a new raid, they had like a big thing where it's like whoever finishes this raid first will get a special thing. So when I initially read the story, it was like you get your picture in the White House, and I was like, I mean, I know they have Ubisoft has a fair amount of clout, but can they do that?
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Of course, it's the White House in the game.
Right.
And basically, you get like a picture of like your fire squad, like
Just in the White House.
just like a framed picture in the in the like Oval Office in the White House. Or
Okay.
whatever.
All right.
Which is cool. The problem they ran into is that the all the PC teams. Like many PC teams beat it before any of the console teams got anywhere close.
Oh, I see.
Because it turns out that first-person shooters are easier to play on PC.
Yeah. Turns out it's much easier to go click than go with 2 thumbsticks.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 teams on PC beat it within 30 minutes of each other in the first 5 hours, I think, that it was out. Whereas it took the console players a couple days. So what they've decided to do is now what's going to be on the in your version of the Division, the picture that's on the wall in the White House will be the team that won, that beat it first in
On
your
your
edition,
platform.
on your platform.
Oh, wow. All right, sure.
So, which opens up an interesting. So now we have like each of the platforms represents like a split timeline in the Division universe. Sure,
God.
the only thing that we see being different
Right.
is this one picture.
Oh, God.
But who knows what else could change?
Yeah, something could happen in the Sony universe that opens up a whole different realm of content unavailable to other players.
But it's one of those things where, like, the thing, like somebody goes back in time and then you see, like, in the present day, like a picture changes.
Yeah.
Some deep lore, exactly. All right, other stuff that's happening.
Mario Kart Tour's coming out. That looks like it's
yeah.
going to be a hellhole.
Yeah,
It's-
I'm not even touching that one.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds
I got
like
enough loot
there will
boxes
be a
in my
fair
life.
amount of, you'll be able to go a fair distance
Oh, yeah.
before you get hit by whatever.
Really ruined by the gacha.
Because, I mean, like, I'm just thinking about, like, the Mario, runner game that they made.
Yeah.
You could, play, because
You
you
play
had-
World 1.
Well,
Yeah.
but and then you just, like, bought the game. Like,
Yes.
there wasn't, like, a in-game, there was microtransactions, I think.
There was
but-
a single microtransaction. It was buy the game.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like you can get pretty far. But just the whole concept of Mario Kart with like energy, especially energy, is always that one where it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I know.
That's a particularly egregious.
What bugs me is it's like if they would release the game and be like, hey, so Mario Kart Tour, and it's microtransaction or whatever, but once you spend $20 on the game, you've unlocked everything. Would kind of be a nice way to go, and be like, you still have to gacha your shit, but you're going to gacha it based on stuff you earn in game, and it'll be easier or something like that, right? Could be the way to do that kind of thing. I wouldn't mind playing a game where they were like, the gacha stuff is hard until you spend a certain amount of money, in which case then it becomes a lot easier and you don't have to worry about that anymore, and be like, that seems a little more honest to me, but
Also, there's a weird thing with like
yeah.
the different part of the gacha thing is you get different characters, and different characters have different stats on different levels. Like a certain, some character will be like better at the level on the mushroom cup
like
or something.
The guy was saying how he had Morton Koopa, and that's like, you get 3 item slots instead of 1 on only one level, but not anywhere else.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of neat. That's an innovation in Mario Kart that has never existed before.
Yeah, which is cool if it wasn't for the fact that the way you get the guys is through the loot box.
Yeah.
There's this great thing. So very famous streamer Shroud.
Yes.
Quite famous playing PUBG, but is also playing Apex Legends. I guess maybe he's moved over or
Trying other things.
splits
sure.
his time or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's this great story about so he got like sniped or he got taken out by a guy that was like Shroud is, if you've seen him play, is like an amazing first-person shooter player.
Yeah.
And he just got like totally rocked by this guy.
Yeah.
To the extent that he was like, And so, and when you die, of course, you can spectate people.
Right.
And so he went and spectated this guy's stream and was, or it's not like, not his
Not
Twitch,
his stream,
not
yeah,
his
but
Twitch stream,
he was
but like just
spectating
in the
his
game.
play.
Yeah. And he spectated it, and he realized that as spectating it, that the guy was cheating, like he was using like an aimbot or something.
Right.
And he also saw that the guy was actually ghosting his Twitch stream.
Oh.
And so he used that opportunity to do a brief interview with the guy, because he was like, he can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Except, of course, the guy wasn't actually streaming himself. And so what actually ended up, because he was like watching his gameplay, and he's like, he actually moves pretty well.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's actually pretty good at the game. Like, he could be good at this game
If he wasn't also trying
without
to
the cheats. And so he was like, you seem like you're pretty good at the game, why do you use cheats? But of course, the guy wasn't streaming, so the only way he could respond is he shot like IDK into a wall.
Wow. Well.
And then he was like, so like, how old are you? And he was like 24 into a wall or something.
Jesus.
So anyway, I just like that the way he responded was by shooting, carving his answers into a wall with his gun.
That's not bad.
Yeah. In further Epic Game Store, possibly bad news.
If you buy too many games too quickly, they'll disable your account.
Yeah, so they had this, they just started their first a big store-wide sale. You know, obviously the Steam sales is going like, oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your first store-wide sale.
Yeah.
And yeah, they didn't anticipate that when they did a store-wide sale, people would want to buy a lot of games, which to me seems like something that you would want to know. Also, they didn't inform a lot of the developers that they were selling their games at a massive discount, even though they were still paying the developers the
full price.
Right. A lot of developers, understandably, you can get the idea that even if you're getting the full price, when consumers see your game available for $2 or whatever,
right,
that inherently
the value of your game
devalues your thing, and then the next week when it's back up to $20, people are like, well, maybe I'll just wait around and not buy it.
It's a $2 game anyway. I do that stuff.
Yeah,
like that's a psychological thing that happens when I see something drop in price to 99 cents because somebody's celebrating or whatever. It's like, yeah, well, if it's 99 cents, it means that really you can get by with 99 cents for this game. You're just charging $5 because you want to make money. I don't want you to make money. I want to get things for free.
So they and then it also became apparent that if you bought too many things, it hit their like anti-fraud stuff.
Right.
So it's just continuing the theme of like maybe they weren't ready to like the Epic Store.
How can they not be ready?
The Epic Store appears to be basically like the Fortnite like microtransaction storefront,
right?
That they then just were like, why don't we just put everything in here, or something like that? Like it seems like a lot of the decisions that were made, the reasoning once you start seeing the reasoning behind it is like, oh yeah, because in Fortnite we wanted to do this.
Yeah.
I would argue that maybe they figured that the Fortnite store, of all things, could handle the the infrastructure of doing it. Because think about how many people are playing Fortnite all the time.
Yeah.
Well, and as everyone's pointing out in the chat, is that the Epic Store does not have a shopping cart. You don't add things to it and then make a payment, because if it is the Fortnite microtransaction store,
buy, go through the thing, buy, go through the thing.
Yeah. There's no easy way to be like, I want to buy these 10 things and pay and done. Which, in a way, it's like, if you were playing Fortnite and buying microtransactions, buying skins or whatever the hell,
you want to buy them one at a time, right?
You kind of do, like, because that's when you're thinking about doing it. You're like, I hit the button, I pay for it, it's done. I hit the button, I pay for it, it's done. And it's if you had to put 20 skins in the thing, then kids would be putting 20 fucking skins in the shopping cart and then hitting checkout and $500 on their parents' credit card.
Or but the thing is that I think it's actually rigged up more to be like, again.
Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah, like you...
seeing things in the shopping cart and seeing the list of what you're buying is when people are like, oh, I don't need all that.
Right.
Yeah, you don't really you don't want to go in and be like, I want to buy 25 loot boxes. You'd be like, I want to buy a loot box 25 times in a row.
Yeah. Because it's fun. I'm pressing for the pellets. I do like the idea that it was the fraud detection that was the problem here. It's like, you're buying too much too fast. We don't think that's real.
But I mean,
we don't have that much good stuff here. Clearly, you're fake.
But they probably have that built in because, of how you can buy things on Fortnite, and so the fraud detection is probably a really useful thing.
Absolutely.
Mordhau, which is this new it's medieval melee combat game, which is apparently people are super digging.
Okay.
It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to get right. A lot of games have tried in varying ways, but apparently this is super fun. But one of the things that's really funny about it is that people have, it's a new game and there's some buggy stuff in it.
Yeah.
And people have figured out not only how to get out of the map, which is not that surprising considering you can do it in Destiny and various other things.
Sure.
But what they realized is that the character select screen is actually part of the map.
Yeah.
It's like way off in the corner somewhere.
Oh, weird.
And so you get the situation where you'll be like, I'm going to go character selecting, doop, doop, doop. And then like some random guy will just like run onto your character selection screen.
And he can't. I don't think he can kill you because you're being created.
But they'll like, you could have like a bard who's just like playing music while you're trying to.
Yeah, there's a video of this bard coming in and he's like, he's just playing some top 40 or whatever. And it's like, what the hell is going on? And then some other guy shows up and dusts that dude in the middle of your character select. It's like,
it's like there's this whole like mini
You're
drama
trying to decide
happening.
on hair, and somebody's getting clubbed for playing Wonderwall.
All right. We should probably head out pretty quick here, but one more story. This is amazing. So, how the VR, new exciting area, but a lot of people are, a lot of developers, the big trick is like, how do you make, you've got to make a game that works within the context of VR with the various, there are various limitations. How can you use those limitations to your advantage? How do you design a game that is going to work well? And there's this amazing game has come out called, or is coming out called Phantom Covert Ops. And so what they did is they were like, we're interested in making like a stealth game. But the problem is that a lot of these, you can't really like sneak around a building
In VR.
in VR. Because you're just going to be
walk
like
into a
spinning
wall.
in place or
Yeah,
walking to a wall or
absolutely,
whatever.
yeah.
And so VR works really well. They found that VR works really well when you're sitting down. So what we'll do is we'll make a game where you're stealthily getting into a building in a kayak. What is the situation in which you want to be stealthy, but you're also sitting?
is it an anti-grav kayak? Like this?
No, it's like a flooded building.
Oh, I see.
So it's stealth kayak action.
That's
Apparently
really good.
it's super awesome.
Oh, I bet.
Because you're like, there's like searchlights and stuff. You have to you've got the two controllers, right? So you're like paddling. You have to like back up.
Oh,
and you like
cool.
slide in through
Okay.
things and like hide in the reeds, and it's like a full thing.
Yeah.
But you're in a kayak, so you're sitting.
So you're sitting, and also means you don't have to like walk, and it makes sense that you're sort of
On
moving in a relatively confined area and stuff. So
Right.
it kind of works in the context
there's
of
not
the
a lot,
VR.
you don't have to do a lot of up and down, which can make people a little bit queasy.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was
funny.
originally that they were making like a kayak game,
Right.
And they were making a VR game. And they were like, "Why don't we just make this the same game?"
Tactical espionage kayak.
Yeah.
Okay, so like it honestly sounds really stupid, but then you think about it, and you're like, that's cool, that's unique.
Yeah, it really is, and people will buy it to play it because they'll be like, I got to see what this is like. And I mean, also because VR players are starved for more games. So
I mean,
there's that.
like, it's just expensive and requires a lot of room in,
Oh
in your
God,
house.
Lord Zorano says getting over it VR. Could you imagine?
So nauseating.
First-person perspective, trying to like hook onto shit, you'd be flipping all the time.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they've made like some sort of Mirror's Edge-esque VR games.
Oh, God.
Which, considering that Mirror's Edge was already like causing problems for people
A little
just on the
queasy-inducing.
screen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was like, I appreciate the creativity. Like
Me too.
It's that whole using the limitations of your situation to your benefit.
We should do our subs because it's 2 and Lure MTG is about to start. And I'm
Yep.
sure there's thirsty Magic fans coming on here being like, where are the cards?
It's like,
true.
well, they're all loot boxes and they're banned in Belgium. I mean, they're not yet, so that'd be interesting. I wonder if Arena's going to run afoul of that somehow.
I mean, Hearthstone and all those other ones are also in there, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't
With
know.
Arena, though, you like earn packs, and then you can redeem you like open packs. And if you open more than 4 playables, it gets turned into like
Right.
gems, which you can then run back and do things with.
Sure.
So like you are playing to collect as much as you need of the set, and then
it's-
after that you get. So it's not really a loot box in
well,
the
it's-
same way because
I
it's
mean-
exchangeable.
This is what's
Right?
interesting about the loot box thing is that there are so many like subtle variations on how to structure a loot box.
Yeah.
That I feel like almost any legal definition of a loot box can just very easily be like
Quite.
slightly tweaked,
Yeah.
and they can just release the game again.
For example, if you like opened extra stuff that you needed from an Animal Crossing loot box, but you could trade them for things that you did want,
Yeah.
then that would get around that law very nicely.
Which you kind of can do. You can give them to Gulliver and you can get shit back for them.
But you can't trade but the thing is, you can't trade your unwanted lamps for your wanted couches on
Absolutely.
the same line. Whereas you can with magic cards, right? If you open more than 4 of a card, you power up your wild cards, which you can trade in for anything, or you get gems back.
I'm taking your word for all of this, so yes.
And like in Hearthstone, you can turn cards that you don't want into dust and turn them into cards you do want. So it's like, yes, you're gambling on getting what you want right away, but there is a way to convert what you've gotten through your gambling into what you do want, which is what the loot, like if the non-exchangeability of the loot box item makes it a gamble.
Yeah, I mean, when I pull a slot machine and I get nothing out of it, I can't turn around and use that to get.
Yeah, you don't
another
get like a
pull.
punch card or something
Yeah, exactly.
like that.
That'd be funny though.
Kazman28, thank you for subscribing.
Yeah, we'll go very fast here.
Yeah.
TXC2 for 51 months. Welcome back.
Hey, Pixel Art Dragon's been here for 8 months. Thank you.
Richards for 68 months. Thank you very much.
What a big number. Banderbear91 back for 20 months. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, it's Magnus Carter who's been here for 20 months.
Exachex Kasune for 44 months. Thank you very much.
Plaid of Honor for 23 months. Welcome back.
Oh boy, it's Vegetal S4 for 23 months.
Hungry Hamst for 8 months. Thank you very much.
Lazy Man 1 for 21 months. Welcome back to you too.
Hey, Juha127, who's been here for 6 months. That's half a year. Thank you.
Leo Evans 631 for 60 months.
That's 5 years.
5 years. Whew.
Wow.
Onyx Seeker for 10 months. Welcome back to you.
My goodness, it's Boatface Jr., who's been here for 29 months. Is Bodie McBoatface Jr. as a joke really 29 months old?
Probably, yeah.
Probably
Oh
longer
my
than
God.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
actually, yeah, you're probably.
Joke Mill for 10 months. Thank you very much.
Brozard for 6 months. Welcome back.
King of the Brozards.
JS1813, 27 months. Woo!
I am Morthos for 13 months. Welcome, Morthos.
H-Bomb and Friends returns for the 27th month. Welcome back.
And not the Penguins. He's been here for 30 months.
We all remember the famous scene where Nicolas Cage had a basket of penguins dumped on his head. Not the penguins! No, not the
Where
penguins!
Vivian Lee was attacked by thousands of penguins.
So Surly for 5 months.
And a big thanks for 301 bits from Masta2505, Lord Crusher, and Earthen One.
It's not actually 301 bits. It just they pause it at 301 bits, and then while the system is catching up.
So we're gonna go, and then
YouTube views.
Lure MTG is gonna start immediately. So please stick around for that. But after that, please go check out our YouTube channel. Guess what relaunched today? It's the panelists.
That's right.
Ooh.
I don't think anybody in this room is in that episode that it just went up, but it's really delightful and it's so good, and you should really watch it. I really want you to. And it is now available as a podcast. If just YouTube stuff is not your jam, you can just have our voices, which sound better than ever, put right into your ear canals.
What's up next tonight? Is it Tinker Tailor or is it the long game?
It is the long game, in fact.
It's
It
the
is
final long game.
The final long game.
God willing.
In our pandemic legacy thing, assuming we don't like open a box and it's like do another whole 10 days
Yeah.
or 10 months or whatever.
I
It's
think that-
December right now. We have
It's-
2 games at most or 1 game at least.
I
Yeah.
think if somehow it is like now you have to play another season, the final long game is just we just like follow
just destroy
Camu
it?
and you're just throwing the box into the garbage.
F this. Go back and do this month again. Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.
So yeah, that'll be super cool. That's happening tonight. But right now it's LRMTG, which the controller thing. Not what? Oh, 1 sec.
Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry I had to get our phones out partway through to look at chat. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Once Paul takes us all offline.
With some magic.
It's Adam.
Adam and I said I would go in there, but I also have a lot of work to do.
So maybe just Adam will play LRMTG for a while.
I should probably go in there and just keep Adam company.
If you have a lot of work to do, I think you could leave him to his own devices.